Whether it's the regular season or the off-season, we have you covered as we give you the best Tennessee Titans and NFL news and insight that a fan could ask for. You're watching the Titan Upload Network. The Power Hour's on the air, live streaming you on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. Team's bad. Let's just call it what it is. This team is bad. The coaching's been bad. Progression just seems to not be one of those things that we're hoping for in at least a fast manner. And consistency on the offensive line once again becomes a major talking point. I mean, I could just break down this game for you for the entire duration of the show. I can go in length about how the coaching's just been inconsistent at this point. There's so many things to talk about, but I guess the best point and the best place to start is with you guys' reaction. And I'll put it to this perspective. Let's talk to you guys about this. But before we get to your comments, because that's the most important thing about the show, obviously, let's get in our good buddy and friend Tyler Staggs of the 615 podcast and the BS Report. Tyler, I guess I can't say happy Monday because let's just be honest. I mean, maybe everybody's had a better day compared to what yesterday brought, but I mean, where the hell do we start?
You said it best when you first hopped on here. The team's bad. Here's the thing. With the moves that were being made and everything, we had that glimmer of hope. And I think all of us really bought into that hope. And, at least the first two games, we had certain things that we could point to and be like, that's what it was right there. Like we fixed that and we can get back on the right track. And then Green Bay comes to town and everything just falls apart. And it's like, okay, there's not one thing. Like there's not one singular thing that I can point to in that game and be like, well, that's what it was right there. It was just everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you come into a situation like this, you feel like the defense, it's a pretty good indication of just how bad this game was going to go with the first drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, Tyler, this is like the first time in years that I've actually just kind of watched a game and just felt no energy. And This is from a slew of games where, the air got sucked out of the building really quick, including that playoff loss to the Bengals in 2021, including a slew of games in the last 2 years. This game, it was hard to sit through. It was hard to sit through and just see any kind of just excitement, any kind of enthusiasm, build any kind of momentum. It was just lackluster. And I mean, just like everybody else on Twitter, I had to throw my 2 cents in. I had to basically just say, I don't know what to say. Amy Adams at this point owes the city an apology. And I know, I got some flack for it, and that's fine. But I'm going to put it to this. I'm going to put it to this perspective. Don't promise things that you can't deliver on. And yes, I know people are going to come at me and say, well, Amy's done some amazing things for the city. She's done amazing things for the franchise. She's put a new stadium in. That's good. Great. Who's sitting in that stadium in 2027 with this team and with the state it is?
Opposing teams' fans?
Clearly. Green Bay was just having a ball day.
Mm-hmm.
Must be nice to just have fans that'll travel like that. And I'm not even throwing pot shots at our fans. It's frustrating. I'm frustrated. I've gotten to the point where it's just like, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing as a franchise? What are we doing as a team that wants to, have the respect of the NFL community, to be respected in the NFL, yet we don't travel well? We're 19th in the league in ownership. We're consistently in the bottom of the list when it comes to just relevancy. Hell, people don't even like our uniforms. And yet, for some reason, we have to keep selling in our mind that they look good. Can't sell that. Sorry. And that's not me hating on the uniforms. I don't have a problem with them. I can't sell something from a perspective of a team that plays bad in front of an audience of 31 other teams that don't even care about us. So I'm going after the top today because I can, because I've invested a good deal of my life with this franchise. And it's so damn frustrating to give 27 years of your life to something and never ask for anything in return. Not a follow on social media, not a gift, not a shout out, not anything. I do this show practically for free, and I'm fine doing it for free. If I never made a dime doing this, I would do it because I'm passionate about it. But damn it, at some point, I'm holding accountability to the tip top. I can't keep going like this and keep selling a narrative to the people that come and watch our show and consistently want to see this team succeed just as much as I do, just as much as Tyler does. And I can't point in the right damn direction, but I'll figure that out one of these days. But regardless of the whole thing, what are we doing? Is it just good enough to sell out the stadium? Doesn't matter who shows up. Doesn't matter if they're Packers fans. Doesn't matter if they're Bills fans or Dolphin fans or Patriot fans. Who cares? It's just good enough, I guess, to sell a seat. The new stadium's getting built regardless. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. It doesn't matter. The thing's already being built up from the ground. But what the hell's the point if we can't even have a little bit of enthusiasm like all these other teams? My God, I fell in love with this team the day they moved in because I always felt the Tennesseans, in their deepest of hearts, loved football, no matter if it was collegiate or it was professional. And I felt if a professional team came here, they would embrace it just as much as they embraced the Vols. And I guess shame on me for believing in that. I guess shame on me for thinking that a state that holds dear the moniker the volunteer state is willing to take that a step further. Maybe I don't know what I'm saying. Maybe I'm just talking and maybe it's just air and maybe it means nothing to you, and that's fine. Maybe it's just frustration that's just mounted, and I just need to say it because at the same time, I just want to see what other fans have and just experience that kind of fun. Must be nice to be hated. Cowboys fans get all kinds of crap, but let's be honest. They're talked about. They're relevant. Bills fans are insane for most of the part from what we see, but they're talked about. They're relevant. They look like they're having a good time, regardless of it, losing 4 straight Super Bowls. Must be nice. Must be nice to have traditions. Must be nice to be like the Steelers and have something that's near and dear to your heart and have, supernatural powers if you step on the thing. Must be nice to be called Title Town. Must be nice to have fans that travel consistently with the team because they believe in the team. I mean, let's just have the hard conversation today, guys. Let's just do it. We're going to break down walls. Let's just break some damn walls down. Was it good enough just to get the 2019 draft and then just hold the record for the longest time till Detroit decided to break it, which it was going to get broken? Is that, the ceiling here? Is hosting a Super Bowl the ceiling here? Watching two other teams play in our city? Is that the whole narrative here? Please, Amy, I appreciate everything you've done, and you've done quite a bit for this city. But I expect more. And I'm going to hold you accountable too. You might have hired the people to do the job, but you're the owner. And guess what? The hard truth is people are going to look at the top and blame them every time because you are the owner.
Yeah, I mean,
I have gone through. Go ahead. Tyler.
Go ahead. You're good. I mean, so people understand, just so they understand more in perspective where you're going with that. It's like in my job. I have the owners of the company, and it's their job to sell to our customers our products. If I do something, they hired me. If I do something that makes our product not look good, disappoints the customer, things like that, customer's not just going to come at me. They're going to come to the owners about it. And they're going to, that's where the blame is going to fall. Like you said, it's going to start at the top. I've had people at work ask me after this start, well, what are they going to do about that new stadium? Stadium's getting built. They've already started on it. The stadium's getting built. Now, as far as what the stadium is being built for, well, if you ask me right now, the stadium's getting built for hosting maybe SEC championship games, WrestleMania, stuff like that, getting a Super Bowl that other teams will potentially be playing in. Like you said, it's hard right now. And I saw a comment from Titan in the chat that, and I'm scrolling back up to it here, Titan, because it said the core of it all is that our expectations were too high. Levis and our O-line are less than average. And I think as a Titans fan right now, that's where I'm at. Offseason.
Let's take it a step further. The new stadium's only going to seat about 60,000 people. Why is that? Because we can't sell out the one we have now.
Yep.
Every time it's on TV, space, space, space.
And it doesn't help that which you hit on this, one of the guys that I work with, last minute he decided he had a friend invite him and his family up to the game. And he told me from opening kickoff, "Go Pack Go" was just echoing through the stadium. He said there was probably just as many, if not more, Packers fans there than Titans fans. And looping back to what you said about how, we want the Titans to be relevant. We want to be that team that, whether it's hated or have this cool nickname like Titletown, this or that. But the reality is right now, no matter how much we try and sell it, no matter how promising the team may look in the offseason, people aren't going to give that respect right now. And that even comes back to when you have more opposing fans in your own stadium than you do your own fans. People aren't going to take you seriously as a football franchise. They're going to look at you and be like, we can take over your stadium anytime we want to. That's going to be a home game for our team. And I mean, It's it's tough times right now. And me and you were talking after the game. And it's one of those things where we want this team to get that generational quarterback that can take us to that next level. We want this team to rise to the occasion. I'm not asking for much from this team. I mean, let's be honest. If I could see this team win one Lombardi before I go, I could be happy with that. Just to see my team as the champions, I could live with that. But year in and year out, we fall short.
Yeah. And we'll get to your comments, guys. I promise. I'm dying to read all your thoughts too, because believe me, I know you're just as frustrated as we are, but I'll just drive this point home. 27 years has just gone by in a blink. And in that time frame, I've been married once, divorced, remarried, had children, lost my father, lost my grandparents, moved countless times, moved out of state, had many different jobs. But I've always had the Titans with me. No matter where I've been, no matter what point in my life, whether it was high or low, I've always had the Titans with me. And you would have hoped, at least within that time frame, maybe some type of just relevancy would have just come up and just planted its flag in the state of Tennessee. Even if it was just some silly tradition that we embraced together, at least it'd be ours. And I mean, I can't speak for everybody in that sense. I mean, I understand why some Tennessee Vol fans don't support the team because they just don't feel it's never been their team. And like I said, I'm not speaking for all of them because you do have some that embraced them, and that's cool. But I just always felt, regardless of how they got here, they were ours. And it's just heartbreaking for the fact that we can't get out of mediocrity's way. We practically swim in its waters, and we literally just live there. We get good every once in a while. We'll creep into the narrative. Maybe we'll surprise people, get into an AFC championship, but it's not enough. It's sad to the point where it's like, this team just may never get that kind of respect. I don't know where they'll be in 10 years or even 5 years for that matter. They'll be here. The story of just where they'll be and how good they'll be or who will be coaching, who will be the quarterback. And I mean, we got a whole stretch to talk about that. I'm not going to try and get all that out in one way or the other because I'm sure everybody's got to put their 2 cents in. But the point is, I'm holding ownership accountable now. For as much good as Amy's done, at the same time, you're not out of the clear in this either. Leaders are always going to be held accountable. Whether you're the coach, whether you're the GM, or you own the team. It's sad enough that the people that are dedicated to this team, even on this network, aren't even respected in that franchise's eyes to where they consider us even just equals to the fact that we can just talk to them or even just use any kind of recognition without using other people to do it. As I said, we don't make anything that's sustainable here. We just do well enough to take care and make this network run for you guys so you have a voice and you have a chance to say what you want to say and make you feel a little more represented out there. Because we know this is an amazing fan base. And it just hasn't exploded yet. And I feel like it's almost like a neutron star that's just building up momentum just from the passion that you guys bring every show, whether it's with Upload, whether it's Rossi, whether it's this show. And honestly, for that, and I can do this on my part, I apologize to you. I apologize for the fact we have nothing relevant to talk about except problems. And as much as we smile and as much as we try and make things positive and spin a positive selling point for you guys because we want this team to be relevant, we want them to be good, we want people to be talking on Mondays about we'll make it all the way. We'll get there. We'll hoist that Lombardi. But I guess today's just one of those days where we just have to say we've got a long way to go. And all I can say is I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we have to talk about this. I'm sorry because I feel like we let you down in an instance, and we want to make sure that you have a great experience regardless tuning in and just watching the show. But we do thank you for your support as always, though. I mean, you could be doing anything else right now, and you're right here, even with football on. So we'll get to your comments now, but to close it out, thanks, guys. And I hope one day maybe all this will just be just a laughing point to where we can just point back at this show and say, yeah, I guess it was a pretty bad situation, but at the same time, maybe just it needed to be said. Maybe we just needed to hear it just out loud from somebody that wasn't trying to sugarcoat it. So, once again, guys, we love you all and we love that you support the network. And without you, we don't have a network. And I hope that support that you give one day, we could just pay it back even more with just something positive. And when I say positive, the buildup in my mind could never even conceive what I could say to you. So thanks. Getting all your comments, though, because we got a lot to catch up on. So Turtle's definitely a Packers fan, but congratulations, man. I mean, what can I say? You came in, you handled business. It is what it is. I mean, Malik's not even going to be your starting guy. Let's just be honest. You got Jordan Love sitting there. Maybe you got a trade chip. We'll see. Shout out to you, Lou, man. Good seeing you as well. Looks like at least one of these games is doing it's pretty interesting, at least in that aspect. And I'm good. I'm about as good as you can be. Shout out to Titan Bros. Yeah, believe me, buddy, I know. It's pretty bad when you got to go on a social media hiatus for at least 24 hours just to kind of clear your head, because honestly, coming into this, I wanted to come in just and have a fresh perspective and just let things breathe for a while. Titan, good seeing you, buddy. Tighten up to you as well. Or we need more hot sauce, less mayo. We need a lot less endorsements, Amar. And I mean, I'm saying this in the most nice way that I can. I don't care if a quarterback does endorsements and gets their cash. It's whatever. I laughed at the fact that Will Levis actually cashed in on this. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, what's more important? And I mean, it's not just Will. It's a slew of things. But we'll slowly break them down. We got a whole show to talk about it. I just want to catch up with you guys' comments and just read the room a little bit. I feel like the Titans are just giving out free wins to the other teams. Henry, that's just what it's felt like the last 3 games. I mean, Tyler, I can't even remember a game or a stretch of games where we just had consistent pick sixes or fumbles returned for scoop and scores.
Or, yeah, punts blocked. And, I mean, it. it. Man.
That's all I got for that
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah.
I can't even give out anything else after that. Titans, worst team in the NFL for right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're going to own it. At least till somebody decides to take that number one spot. Lou says even Rossi's been bad too. I don't know. I haven't. Rossi's been kind of just quiet on his end, and I understand. I mean, Upload had his show last night, and he had his point, and I'm not surprised with what he said, especially with the Will Levis situation. And that's just the one thing about just the network. We have different people with different perspectives, and Upload gave his perspective, and that is what it is. It's good that we just gauge other people's reactions. It's what gives a broader narrative, especially to people that feel that way in the moment. I'll get into my take about that later on, because believe me, as I said, there's a lot to break down, and I'm not going to try and break everything down at this point, because believe me, you're going to pull your hair out trying to figure it out. And I swear to you, there's like just so much that we could try and just break down in one consistent aspect of this whole game. That's one reason why Tyler and I just decided just against like doing anything in Titans talk. Because what did we have that was even positive or good?
Maybe you could say the first offensive drive for the Titans. I mean, I feel like, but even then, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, Mike. I pretty much know going into every game day, as soon as the clock hits zeros across the board in the fourth quarter, I get a text from you telling me, hey, you know what to do. I need these things. And as the game was going on, I was literally thinking in my head, I have absolutely zero idea what I can tell him I loved about this game. Because I mean, throughout the game, the only things I could even think of, like I said, was maybe the first offensive drive or D-Hop getting more involved this week. But even then, it wasn't. It doesn't feel like that's really.
You didn't even have to finish that. You didn't even have to finish that thought. That's all you could say. Just sigh. That's all you could say.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Blockbuster, for giving us a super chat. You're getting the horn.
Wow! Look what I found, Ma!
Definitely wasn't offense, but we'll take the super chat. Why is Duncan out there? Worst offensive tackle ever. Watch the film. He got beat every snap. Duncan, I felt at the time, if he could just get some consistency and a little time under his belt, he'd improve. But he didn't accidentally play well. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, if his technique's just unfixable at this point, or if this is just what the Titans have. And the crazy thing is, you can't really do anything in free agency next year. The right tackle market is like skinny. So unless you want to move Latham out and try and take a shot at another guy at the left tackle position in free agency, or even in the draft, I guess that's another discussion we can have. But hell, we're probably going to be talking about 4 different positions in the draft that are going to need replacement.
Yeah.
But that's the narrative we'll have to talk about as well. But we'll read your comments, and then we'll get to our thoughts on what we could possibly do to make this a little more tolerable. We need to tank for one of the top quarterbacks this year. Let's do it right. Tank for the future. And I mean, there's just nobody that I like in this upcoming class. Nobody's really standing out right now. And I know it's early, and I know draft talk's even kind of early at this point. But this is a hard sell, especially with the multitude of problems that we have on offense. We still need help on the line. We still need to figure out what we're going to do with D-Hop's contract. Burks isn't working out. You know, what are you going to do with Tyler Boyd? That's just a whole nother ball game. You got to just stick your nose in. Tank for what we can't develop a quarterback. Let's start being real. I mean, for right now, Will Levis he hasn't shown anything that's consistent enough. He's had moments. It's just you want him to be a little more consistent playing. Some guys try and go in the game and they try to be the guy that's like flash and just high octane. They can make plays on a dime. Will Levis isn't that. You know, he's a guy that can make some plays, but at the heart of the root of the problem is it's inconsistent. You know, he either overreaches on some plays, he either over evaluates, and honestly, just from the whole game perspective, he just looked deflated. Every time he got put on the ground, every time he made a bad decision, I just read every look on his face, and that was just the look of a player that looked absolutely deflated. And confidence is one of the hardest damn things in this league to get back. Because it's easy to go out there and play well, but when people stop believing in you and they don't feel that you're going to be this and rumors start flowing in, then it starts seeping in your mind and then you start believing in it. I mean, yeah. I mean, Maury, I'm going to be honest. I think I was more just disappointed, but I don't think I was at that level of disappointment you were, because I think I really kind of got punched in the stomach with that 08 team. This one, it was just like you had a bad vibe as soon as the first interception happened in that game. And you just kind of hope it just didn't play out that way. But there we are. Henry Titans giving out free wins to other teams once again. Top tier, good seeing you. Watching the Oilers Titans since the 80s. Tough watch, man. Bad football team right now. Titan says coaching is dependent upon the quarterback's ability to execute process. Levis is good on script, but is too young in his processing when he has to make decisions. And that's a fair assessment. You know, things can be fixed as long as the player is willing to put in the effort. But at the same time, if somebody's confidence is gone, it's hard to encourage them that they can still be the guy. I mean, if they can't believe in it, believe me, there's no hammering that in there. You know, but you can make money and be good too. Robert Kraft makes money and he's good. Jerry Jones makes money and his team's good, regardless of not winning playoff games. They still go to the playoffs. The Packers make money and they're good. Owners can make money. I don't have a problem with them making money. It's the fact that you can be money and tread water, or you can make money and be really good and make even more. Just saying. Robert Kraft came in and his net worth skyrocketed after the Patriots went on their run. So, food for thought. I miss the prime Tennessee Titans. We had Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. And I guess it's, for some people, it's you don't know what you got till it's gone kind of situation. I thought, and regardless, Derrick Henry was going to leave. He was going to leave regardless. And I don't blame him. I was never going to throw Derrick Henry under the bus for making that decision. He's only got so many years. He's in championship mode. If it goes well with the Ravens, then so be it. I hate wasting prime talent here. That's one of my biggest that is one of my biggest pet peeves for this franchise. I mean, we wasted Eddie George's prime, we wasted Chris Johnson's prime, we've wasted Derrick Henry's prime, we wasted Earl Campbell's prime. Those are very much Mount Rushmore-esque type players in rushing, and we wasted what could have been just magical years with them. Investing time in the Titans is a waste, and it feels like it, but at the same time, when you give time to something, you want it to flourish. I'll be honest, Amar, you know, I've not always backed the most winning of teams, but I can assure you it can pay off at times, especially when you make the right moves. And I mean, it's hard to believe, but at the same time, if the Cubs can go out and win a World Series, then I don't think it's too damn far fetched for the Titans to win a Super Bowl. Good seeing you, Drayden. I mean, today it's a fair assessment once again. Clown organization, just bad decision making, and it goes all the way up to the top. Blockbuster Ryan is not a prime Titan. And I mean, that's debatable, Block. I'm not going to try and change your perspective on that. If you don't feel that Ryan Tannehill is, that's fine. But I've always argued the fact Ryan Tannehill is going to be a top 5. He's going to be a top 5 quarterback for the Titans. He's about the best that we've gotten since Warren Moon in terms of just somebody that can sling the ball. Steve McNair to me was more of an athlete. Steve could throw, and at times he could be the better quarterback throwing the ball, but his legs were even more dangerous. In terms of just a pure pocket passer, Tannehill was the better passer. But regardless, dude's in the top 5 stats for quarterbacks, and that's never going to change. It's aggravating to have back-to-back sad Mondays. Lou, I promise you. And I guess we haven't figured out the schedule for Monday Night Football because, I mean, I'll give you guys just a little bit of I'll give you a little pearl of hope. I mean, Miami's quarterback situation is really bad. So there's something. But then again, this was a team that was supposed to beat Malik Willis. I'm not trying to poke a finger in that one, but let's just be honest. Let's just call it a cup that's got water in it. Titan Bro says, I've never seen Mr. Bishop like this. I mean, bros, I can be disappointed in something and still be optimistic, but I can't be dishonest to you all. I can't come into a show and sell a narrative that this was a situation that I felt was going to be positive or build up something, and it could. You know, I don't know what happens behind the locker room. I'm sure players have had talks with each other, and it's just trying to find some kind of common ground and move forward. I mean, there's still a lot of football left to play. I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet, but it's a fair assessment to say that we've got to make some tough decisions going forward. This team's going to have to look in the mirror and decide where they want to be. What do they want to do? You know, is it good enough to just tread water? That's why I'm calling out Amy Adams Strunk. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. You can still make money and be good. You know, what do you want to do? Because you owe it to this fan base to live up to the expectations you've set. Don't promise things that you're not going to deliver on, because people take that seriously. He who should not be named was right hiring a brand new GM with a rookie head coach that never called plays or been a head coach, or hiring a D coordinator that never played calls before the receipt for this disaster. I will never give that man any benefit of the doubt in my mind. And we've got bad blood, and he knows why. And I'm just going to say it from this perspective. If I can sell anything that gives you any kind of narrative of hope, when Rand Carthon joined the 49ers, that team was an absolute dumpster fire. They had to scratch and dig and tear things up from the inside. There were pieces in place. They built and they made some connections, and they got better over the last couple of years. They had one season where they lost their quarterback and then ended up with a top 3 pick, and it was beneficial to them. They got to add better pieces on top of what they had already built. So let's just say, for argument's sake, the Titans end up with a really bad season and end up let's say top 3 pick. It's not bad if they hit on them. I'm not giving up on the analytics side of things. I mean, Rands did a very solid job of finding guys that can contribute. But the thing is, there's still bigger issues to fix. I don't know how you're going to go about fixing them, but at the same time, it's like just patching up a few things to try and make the house look presentable till I can fix the bigger underlying issues. Eventually the secondary is going to have to continue to be worked on. Eventually the offense is going to have to be retooled. Eventually we might have to talk about maybe looking for another quarterback. Good Lord, I'm not looking forward to that discussion. But at the same time, I know Rand's going to be under a lot of fire. But I'm willing to be a little bit lenient in this instance, but I'm going to be firm in my decision-making with what he does going forward. Because next year, whatever happens this year, good or bad, Rand Carthon's going to be the GM next year. But I'm going to be very, very observant of what he does in 2025. And my expectations are going to be high for him. But he better live up to those expectations. The core of it all is our expectations were too high. Levis and the O-line were less than average. And that's a fair assessment, Titan. But at the same time, this is a fan base that is starving to be relevant. It's like we're trying to wash away just that stink of failure that John Robinson slowly let sink into this franchise. And many people argue it was the day they let A.J. Brown leave for the Eagles. Which, in all fairness, I don't know if it would have changed anything if he stayed. I mean, if Will Levis feels this uncomfortable standing in a pocket and gets sacked 8 times, I don't know what A.J. Brown was going to do in this instance. I guess that should have been just like the show title for today. Just it sucks being a loser. Hooked Up Joe, good seeing you. You are not alone. We have not won a playoff game in 24 years. We have to hold on to love for our team and old records. And Joe, definitely good luck to you guys. I know it's pretty heartbreaking, especially with the situation Tua is in, and I hate that for the kid. I don't want him to get to the point where it's like, he's having a fight for his life and choosing to play football. At some point, decisions are going to have to be made about his future. I hope for the best for him, but like any franchise, it's like, bad owners can hold back a team too. And I'm not calling Amy a bad owner, but at the same time, bad decisions from owners as well can make that possible. Team looks lost out there on Sundays. That's a product of inexperienced coaches. And I'm not going to argue that, Amar. I'm not. But you hope that eventually at some point you get better as they go along. Just like anybody that starts a new career or they move up to the top of the food chain in any profession, there's speed bumps, there's inconsistency. You just hope it gets better. And if anything I can take away from this year, I don't know what this team's going to do going forward. I don't know how many wins we're going to talk about. By God, if we can get one win, at least sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'd be elated just to talk about that whole damn show. But, the future, it is just very, very uncertain. And it's hard to sell that narrative. And I don't want to sell a narrative of something to you guys because you're smart enough to see through it. To where there's just not a lot of consistent talk of anything positive from what you see. Your eyes aren't lying to you. This team's bad. They're playing bad. You just hope that the guys that we brought in can help get them better. At least to the point where they learn how to win. Playing to win and learning how to win are two different narratives, and you hope that that's the case. That needs to be a t-shirt, to be honest. Thanks, Lou, man. Amy Adams is the clown of this circus. And once again, I'm not trying to throw Amy under the bus, but I'm holding her accountable. It's sad to see, but Titans don't even look like an NFL team. They look like a lower-level college team. I mean, more honestly, I kind of felt like that kind of feels like an insult to some lower-level college teams. Because at least some of them can get to 20 points, or at least past 20 points. We haven't done that, at least in the last 2 years. Still going on. Hooray. Stevie, good seeing you. Why did we kick first? We don't play good from behind. Tyler, I mean, you got one on that one.
I mean, just to answer the question, I think we kicked first because with how our defense had been playing the first 2 weeks, I think Callie probably looked at it and was like, okay, we know Malik. Our defense has been playing well. Let's start the game off with a stop. And it didn't happen.
Hard to say. Tom Wishaw, why keep playing Levis if you can root off to start winning games and bring the confidence to this team? Who cares about talking draft picks instead of wins? Tired of people just giving up already. And I mean, let's just put it this way, Tom. And you bring up a fair point, but I'm going to counter with this as well because there's always two sides of the coin. What if Rudolph doesn't work? What if he's just going to deal with the problems Levis is dealing with? If Nicholas Petit-Frere can't block and Jalen Duncan can't block, short of just, activating the 2 tight ends we have just in order to shore up that right side of the offensive line. I mean, what are we going to do? And I'm not saying Rudolph can't play. He can. But what if we just end up being middle of the road? What if that just hurts their chance of actually just having a better draft pick at this point? And I guess I'm going to get to this point because it seems like the best time to. And I know I'm probably going to get grilled for this, but this is my selling point here. I'm sticking with Malik Willis.
You mean Levis?
Sure, him too. But he got traded away. So what the hell? Who cares? Let's just put it this way. You put all this money. I'm sticking with Will Levis. So you invested all this money in him. And like any investment, you're either going to hit it or you're going to miss completely. So you've already gone this far. You might as well just keep going and see what he does. Because at this point, it's like, yeah, I guess Rudolph can come in. You win some games. But it's still a tough schedule. They still got to play the Bills. They still got to play Detroit. We still have question marks on the offensive line. We still have question marks about, if Ridley and Levis can build any kind of rapport. Is Diop going to be able to stay healthy for the whole year? Traylon Burks, I just have no answer for. And I really wanted that kid to succeed. But at the same time, it's like, he is what he is. I mean, at this point, NWI should have a better chance to play than what Burks has. Strunk is a clown. Tight says we're in a deeper crossroads, continuing Levis and keep losing, starting Rudolph and having a chance at being mediocre. That's just the whole narrative. And I don't have anything to sell on that, guys. I don't. Lou said it made my Sunday suck. It makes my Monday suck. It sucks and it hurts. I mean, it does, Lou, but I've learned over the years, it's like I can just bounce off of a loss and just move on. I think even right now, I'm not as down as I was, an hour after the game ended. You kind of just have time to process and just think yourself, what if, what can we do? What can we improve to be better? And unfortunately, just today's just not one of those days where I have a lot of positivity to sell. It's just more of just holding a mirror up and just kind of looking deep within and just seeing what you can do to progress. Amy might need to think about selling the team or hiring a real president of football. And I mean, I'll put it to you this way, Amar. As much as I'm railing on Amy today, I was pleasantly surprised when she was actually making things happen. And I'll give credit for that. She is far better than what Tommy Smith was. And Tommy Smith was a damn joke. I would have rather at that point when Tommy Smith had the team to just sell the team to the city of Nashville and just do what Green Bay does. But that was never going to happen. The NFL won't let that happen. I wish that was an option. I wish we could have what the Packers have. That would be just effing neat. But that's not going to be a thing. But I guess the guy can dream. Blockbuster, I don't blame Levis all the way. How can you play with Duncan blocking for you? Once again, just it's here we are just talking about all the problems again, like we've been talking about the last 2 years. I mean, wish I could rewind the clock and just talk about those times when we were winning games, meaningful games. That was fun. That was fun talking about that. It was fun. People are like, wow, the Titans are good. Or the fact, 3 weeks before the season was over, it looked like we squandered a chance to lock up the number 1 seed. It just seems so far away now. And I just feel like everybody else in the NFL is just running away. I don't know. Let me tell you, if Will Levis had a Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, and many more, Levis would be a good quarterback. That's what upsets me so much. Titans can't develop a quarterback. I can't say that for Brian Callahan yet, and I'll sell this narrative too. I'm not giving up on Callie. Like anything with a new job or taking over a high-profile position, it's going to take time to progress and figure out what you can do. It's always a perfect marriage. I've always felt deep within my heart The success of an NFL team comes down to three narratives. You have to have the right GM, the right coach, and the right quarterback in the same time period. It matters. I don't know what Callie is yet, and I can't give a fair assessment of what he's done in a 3-game stretch. I'm willing to give him time. I'm willing to be patient. But the thing is, without the right quarterback, or if you feel that even the GM fit, and we already saw that with Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon, that wasn't going to work. So now we kind of feel like we've got 2 out of 3 at this point. You're just hoping the third point can kind of just connect. We're just not there yet. And it's a fair point, Drayden. I mean, at this point, the Titans are just a tenant in it. I mean, they're the main tenant, but at the same time, it's like everybody else is going to be going there for like championship venues, and as Tyler said, SEC championships probably, a Super Bowl, WrestleMania, college football playoffs, college football championship, Final Four. Just be nice to actually hang a banner up there that actually says Super Bowl champions. I mean, cool if we won an AFC's championship in 1999. There's a good portion of our audience that wasn't even alive back then when that happened. And the sad thing is, Henry, I don't even know if we'll see another playoff game in that building. I mean, it might be too far to even scratch that surface, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And I'm glad to be wrong in that instance. Parker, I think you have a point, but again, Levis is making mistakes as coach, and all of us can't get past. That's just growth. You hope they'll grow from it. Is Nashville going to be like St. Louis? Build it and the team moves on. I mean, Lou, they're locked in for the next 30 years, so they're here for good. But regardless, I think it's just going to be one of those scenarios where it's like they're going to have to really just ask some tough questions. Is it good enough to be mediocre and just make a little bit of money? Or are you going to take a chance and be one of the elites and stand out? It'd be actually nice to see a stadium full of our guys and not get out-chanted by everybody else. I believe in a homemade NFL team from Tennessee would be great. Screw Houston in the past. We need a new identity. And I've brought this up at countless times. I don't care about the Oilers' history being a part of this. It is what it is. It's like marrying somebody that was already in a previous marriage. You accept them for who they are and what they've been through, and that's fine. The Oilers is a part of their identity. I never had an issue with that. It's Houston that has an issue with that. But that's another topic for another day I don't feel like dragging out. Like you take Lewis, look at the history of this team with quarterbacks. Yeah, it's bad. Just to get into the playoffs, I can live with that tie stick. Good seeing you, Parker. I think Levis looks better Tim Kelly than Callahan. I don't think we'll ever know about Tim Kelly. I think if he actually had an offensive line in front, we'll never know. Have hope would be nice. Titan Bro says those winning 6 reasons for a row seems so far in the past. Levis is just too young to process the game. He needs to either be sat down and grow, or we hurt while he plays and grows. I almost removed my Titan sticker off my truck yesterday. Lou's getting serious now. That's some serious accusation. We spent 150 million on free agency, and we the team worse than last year. That's really infuriating too. People see me now and laugh. Well, you don't need to be laughing at you, Lou, man. Believe me, there's far worse things than wearing a Titan shirt right now. I posted things in the past weeks, and all I hear is let's keep playing bad players, and people are fine with it. You got next year. Why try to change things? I mean, at this point, as I said, you got Miami. Miami's situation with quarterbacks, very questionable. And the Titans got a chance. It's a small chance, but it's a chance nonetheless. So if you can take anything positive away from tonight, we'll just see what happens. I don't want to go too much into detail, but there's just a little hope for you. Amy doesn't know what she's doing. Let's be honest. She's the head clown. I feel like we're headed in the right direction, but there's still fingerings of the J-Rob Vrabel curse. We have to cleanse ourselves, even with Big Jeff, Harold, and D-Hop. Bold take, but, Major Keys, you bring up a fair point. Because sometimes you got elite players that don't get to see the final effort, but at the same time, it's just, you just really just kind of feel like that there are going to be some tough decisions made down the road for next year even. Appreciate the effort, Michael Tyler. Really do. Our team is just not there yet. They're not for right now anyway. We'll always tune into you. Thanks, Lou. We appreciate it. Roro Ben, is this a funeral of the podcast? It seems like karma. So many times I've heard bashing of the Colts from Titans fans and the media, and it's coming back around to bite them. I mean, Ben, you had your deal last week. We got our thing right now. Karma comes in two ways. It can come good and come bad. So, just choose wisely which one you decide to put out, because believe me, the universe is very fickle in those terms. Because I'm pretty sure last week you all learned that the hard way. But we'll see whenever that comes around. Allison, I was so hyped for the season. I believed in the change that was promised by Amy and the coaches. Now I feel like a fool. Same old Titans, and it hurts. Mara firing Vrabel wasn't a mistake. He needed to get fired. The mistake was hiring people to be head coach and a play caller with no experience at any level, offense, defense, and special teams. We'll just see how true that becomes, especially if it doesn't get us to where we're going. Parker, what's the point of having a top pick in the draft if we can't develop a player? I mean, at the same time, it's like you got to pick good players to win games. Somebody's eventually going to be able to develop them. I don't know who. I don't know if they're going to be within this next 5 years, next 10 years, but something's got to happen. I mean, you can't preach that you're going to try and do a different type of football game. You're going to try and shake up the foundations of everything, and then it's just the same old, same old. I mean, I guess I'll give Amy credit for that, for being creative, but at the same time, you just hope Callie's going to be the guy. I don't know if Callie's going to be the guy, but I'm willing to give him an opportunity. Kick it to the King Productions. It's time to admit the same folks that told us Will Levis was going to be it also said Malik Willis was a bum. I mean, it is what it is. But at the same time, Malik Willis, he has a lot of great weapons around him, and he's in a really great system under a coach that's been in the league and understands how to utilize quarterbacks. But Jordan loves their future. Malik Willis is just the guy that was there to fill in. And eventually Jordan Love's going to take over. Somebody might take a flyer on Malik, but I do think it's just a buyer beware scenario. Just because they work for one team doesn't mean that they're going to work for another. I think we all learned Nick Foles' situation very, very well. And if you're a Jaguars fan, you learned that very, very well. We were the number one defense in the NFL coming into yesterday's game, and there are some bright spots. The question going forward is Levis, Callie are both losing the locker room. I don't think it's just players or coaches. I think it's just the attitude in general. Losing just, especially when you've done it the last 2 years, it just gives just a bad vibe, and it just leaves just a film and just a stench. And I mean, eventually you just have to basically kind of just bite down and just grin and bear it and just hope that something good will come from it. Would it be wrong to want a Green Bay versus Baltimore Super Bowl now? I mean, we'll see. Whatever happened to Coach Callahan developing an offense around Levis' strengths? Now it's a dink and dunk offense. Levis does not look comfortable in the system. And Donzell, you make up a great point because they're not trying to be aggressive. And when they do, it's a situation that just unfolds in the worst possible way. And then it just kind of just tapers off there, and it's literally just a crap show at that point. I mean, the wildest thing is I can kind of sense the fact that there is some optimism there. There's some kind of consistency that is happening. So there's good things happening in the game. It's just you want them to be more efficient and just consistent. If we can get that, then you got something you can string up with. And this team can move along and just process how to win. That's the problem with them. They don't understand how to win yet. This coaching staff doesn't. This young team that's been fashioned hasn't. Other than the guys that have been doing it for a while. But you have to learn to win together. Team is giving up 2. Can't even score 30 points. It's been 3 seasons without one, not counting the preseason. I can see Hopsburg, Chig being traded at the deadline. That's a fair point too. And guys, you are killing it with the comments. Like, we are just getting so many. Believe me, everybody had to come and vent tonight, and I appreciate you guys coming in and venting. But I understand Monday Night Football's on, and you probably want to be watching the game than just listen to us prattle on. But I guess we'll try and just close it out right here, because at this point, we just got a lot of situational things we're going to have to deal with, and it's just going to come down to it's a look in the mirror situation and just see what this team can do. So, Tyler, I'll let you give a final word here, and then we'll close up shop for the night.
Yeah. So, and I think I know there's a lot of fans out there like this. Look, right now it sucks. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It sucks. The team sucks right now. I mean, look, even the Panthers got a win yesterday. And right now, as it stands, the Titans are the worst team in the NFL. I'm not going to promise that it's going to get better throughout the season. I still have, even though it's not very much, slight optimism that we can see some positive things throughout the rest of the season. But we come in, we got our expectations up, and now we're falling short. Just got to keep trucking along and hope for better times. And, hey, win, lose, draw, this is still going to be the team that I support. It's always going to be tighten up from me. I'm going to cheer for this team. I'm going to say, I'm going to give my honest opinion about this team. I'm going to cuss this team sometimes because they get me to that point. But all we can do is hope that eventually things get better and we can get out of mediocrity.
And once again, guys, shout out to you in the comments for killing it tonight. Wish we had a more upbeat show to give you, but hey, we got some things off some people's chests, and hopefully it's good enough to get you guys revitalized for the rest of the week. So here's hoping. I don't have any answers right now about what this team's going to do in the next few months. We're basically just at a crossroad, and we're trying to figure out what we are. Not only for this year, but I feel just for the long term of everything. You want this team to be successful. You want to have something to be proud of. You want to give a narrative of that this team is finally getting itself back up off the ground after getting kicked into the dirt for the last 2 years. I mean, they say the biggest cliche, but it's true. You know, tough times don't last, but tough people do. I don't know how long this can continue to go, but eventually it has to end. Eventually something good's got to come out of it. And I guess if I'm going to get flack, I might as well get flack because it's like I decided not to pick any of the games, so to hell with it. I'll just go ahead and just take this bullet right now. Just give me the Titans to win Monday night. I'll say it right here, take it to the bank. If I miss it, throw me to the dogs, just shred me up. Doesn't matter. But I don't know what the future is for the Titans, whether it's Will Levis, whether it's Carson Beck, whether it's Quentin Ewers, whether it's one of the Manning kids that comes up, whether it's Nico Iamaleava. I have no idea. I just hope that eventually Amy can just understand what we want as a fan base and as a state. We want to be represented in the right light. We want to be something that stands out and is the example in the NFL. We want to be up there with the teams that matter, like the Steelers, like the Bills, like the Packers, the teams that have great traditions and great fans. We know you guys are great. We know you bring that passion. We see it every day. We just want what you deserve. And that's to have the hardware to back it up and the prestige to back it up. I've seen what this state can bring in passion. We've seen it on a collegiate level. Most of us have all our lives. And if I can take anything away and sell any narrative, I hope, and I know it's just a fleeting hope, but I hope one day maybe that passion can be funneled through the NFL. So I'm just asking you, Vol fans, you know, you get recruited out there. So on an NFL level, I'm asking you right now, I've got a blue Titans hat for you. Are you willing to put it on? Come join our ranks and double up on the Tennessee side. So we really could use some of that energy or some of that Rocky Top magic. But as I said, it's just a hope and a wish. But regardless of that, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. You have a great weekend. We'll be back next Monday. Hopefully a little more upbeat. As I said, I'm calling the Titans win. If we lose, we'll just pick it back up from here and just go from there. Therapy's good for the soul. So, love you, mean it. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you next week. And as always, take care. Tighten up.
Tighten up.
You're watching the Titan Upload Network.